Hi everyone, it's Magpie Girl here, and we're going to do the round 2 podcast for the Sydney versus Collingwood match on Saturday night. Joining me tonight is our very own Gutsy Bug. Welcome, Gutsy Bug.
Thank you, Magpie Girl.
And our guest from the Swans board, Bonds.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hi Bonds, thanks for coming on and joining us tonight. It's really good to have someone from the opposition team.
Yeah, yes it is.
It's always a pleasure. We had Gutsy Bug on our podcast last night. He did a great job.
Some interesting discussions there.
Good. Well, we'll probably cover a bit of the same ground, but, you know, that's how it is.
Well, we talked about Arden Street, though.
Oh, no, well, we're not going there tonight. I did not quite understand the link, but that's for another time. So, look, both teams have had absolutely terrible losses in the first round. And, you know, I mean, here's Collingwood. We're on the bottom of the ladder. That's been a bit of a shock to everybody. But anyway, life does go on, doesn't it? And what about you, Bonds? Were you shocked by your team's loss to Greater Western Sydney?
I'm still in disbelief from the loss to the US. I'm still expecting to wake up to last Saturday and it was all a dream. Like, even when it was 5 minutes left in that match and we were down by 7 points, I didn't think we were going to lose.
What's your, well, both of you, what is your feeling about an opening split round?
You can start, Bonds.
Personally, I don't like it. I'd rather, it's the same as all other rounds. I don't get why we have to play the weekend before everyone else. GWS's idea of going head-to-head with the NRL. Personally, I just don't agree with it. I'd rather consistency throughout the year. I don't even like a split round in the middle of the year, let alone at the start.
No, even more disappointing at the start. And Gutsy Bug, what about you?
I don't like it, but I think it's good for, you know, like Reid and Dwyer and that, who are all a bit injured, so it gives them a chance to, play, which I do like that.
Well, that's as it's turned out, of course, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But just in theory, yeah. Not something you enjoy or like the idea of.
No, it's...
And Bonds, do you mind if we just ask you a couple of little questions? Like, I know this is kind of topical for everybody and it's probably been done to death on your board, but did the Franklin deal take you being you Swan supporters in general by surprise?
No one had any idea about it. Like, there had been rumours and a few people had joked about it on our board, just along the lines of, let's get Franklin just to annoy Hawthorn. Just give him an offer and force GWS to pay him more money.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us actually expected to get him.
Yeah, that's pretty out there.
Like, I'm not joking, especially after we got in Kurt Tippett the year beforehand and we had Sam Reid developing, Adam Goods, if he got fit again to come back, we didn't really need a forward. Whilst Lance Franklin isn't your traditional key forward, he's better played up the ground, almost like a incredibly tall, large half-forward flank player. No one expected it.
Yeah. 9 years, right? And
9 years, $10 million.
That's long and lots of money.
It is a lot of money. Do you think he's a good fit for your team, though?
Personally, if we can get Kurt Tippett playing, I think they will make what we're hoping is the best forward line in the competition. And on paper, it should work spectacularly. We're hoping it works similar to how Roughhead Franklin worked last year, with possibly Sam Reid being the equivalent of the third tall in Johnson, just without the accurate kicking, of course. But look, in all honesty, we didn't even see that much of Kurt Tippett last year. He came in halfway through the year in heels. Even then, he got injured for the last few rounds. So
well, he did play pretty good, though.
It was pretty spectacular for us, I won't lie, but we can't really judge on how good a fit Franklin's going to be until we've got a fully fit list.
So look, we won't go into all that. I mean, I think that, the theory down here was that Buddy went to Sydney to escape all the media, but they seem to be dogging him just as much up there as they used to down here. And,
personally, it seems like he's getting more media in Sydney than actually awful.
And still the bad boy and hanging out with the wrong crowd and all the rest. So he's your problem now.
It certainly is. It certainly is. Him and Hannah agree.
So,
rules that come between the two of them.
So now let's turning our minds to this week's game. As far as the Pies are concerned, our much needed ins are people like Reid, White, Keefe in defence. Dwyer would be great to have. He was the best on ground in the VFL.
Yes.
Blair, Fazolo. I mean, we just need all these people back.
Yeah, we have a lot of injuries and it's not helping us.
No, it's been
I think if we could get Dwyer, Reid, White and Keefe in, that's a good start. It's a good base to branch off on.
How many of them would be underdone, though, at the moment? I mean,
I think
we don't know about Reid exactly. Jesse White has been somewhat injury-prone over the years, but not too bad.
Jesse played in the NAB a challenge. He played, I think, every match except against Fremantle. So he's been playing. But Keith, though, he had a pretty terrible pre-season. So it could go both ways there. So Dwyer, he's good. He's a god in my eyes. He's a great in. So hopefully he can be fit for the game.
Well, you know how much I like Dwyer. He is my avatar.
Yes, he is.
I actually do a bit of writing for a website called Undisputed Sports, but I actually interviewed Sam Dwyer last year and came onto the Collingwood board asking for a few questions about it.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
He's a great guy. The story behind Dwyer and how he's come up for the VFL and all basically how hard he's actually had to really push himself to make AFL level is amazing.
Yeah,
I was very surprised not to see him in your round one team, but he had a bit of an interrupted pre-season, I guess.
Yeah, he did.
So who do you both see, and let's go with Gutsy Bug first, who do you both see as the key matchups this week?
Grundy and Pike. Grundy is young, but I think if he can beat Pike, it'll have a great effect on how the game is played, because if Swan, Taylor, Adams and star-studded mids, the clearances, it'll be a massive part of the match. So if Grundy can beat Pike, then yeah, that's important.
As for me, I think the most important matchup coming from a Swans point of view will be Pendlebury and who runs with him. Hopefully Ryan O'Keefe, but we never know, he may get dropped. I'm very scared about who can tag Pendlebury for the Swans, because we don't have, besides Ryan, we don't have anyone that can tag that's tall enough to match him around the ground, and his movement and agility is amazing for a player of his height, so...
Yes, it is.
So would you tag anyone, Hans, or would you tag Pendlebury?
I would tag Pendlebury. He'd be the first player I attempt to tag. I'd like Kieran Jack to go head-to-head with Dane Swan. I don't think Dane Swan is the type... We did a good job of it at the MCG, but he seems to have a relatively good record against us, and I don't think Swan is the type of player you can keep out of a match for 420 minutes. The best way with Dane Swan is, whilst he's going to hurt you a bit on the scoreboard, if you can hurt him going the other way, then it might help us free up one of our players. So if we can gain Kieran Jack back this week, then I would use him playing head-to-head with Dane Swan.
And who are we going to put on Buddy?
I'm thinking... Tip it. Keefe or Reid. To be honest, he's a hard player to contain, and he always destroys us. So hopefully Reid can contain him, but if not, Keith. I mean, he's a hard player to mark. Really, he's tall but really quick. It's just, God. He's kind of like Jesse White. He's
very similar to Jesse White, actually. They've both got an innate problem with taking contested marks.
So who would Brown play on?
Brown will hopefully we bring in a second ruckman this week, but Brown will probably be tagging Sam Reid, I would have thought then. And
why would you want a second ruckman?
Simply because last week, once LRT's injured, so we can't really use him as a second ruckman, but Mike Pike, halfway through the third quarter, just ran out of legs completely, and Mumford was just running him all over the ground. So we really need to bring in either Derricks or Nankirkus just to give Pike a bit of a cutout. Especially then, because we can use one of them in the goal square and force you to keep Ben Reid to defence. I'm very worried about him in attack.
So you think he'll be in defence as well?
I think you'll play him in attack simply to stretch our defence. I mean, if we lose LRT this week, we've only got Ted Richards and Heath Grundy as tall defenders. So that's Reid and Cloak matched up. Then you've got Jesse White, and it looks like we'll probably have either Laidler or Rampy maybe matching up on him, and that's a massive size difference, and it'll be quite worrying for me.
So where do you think the game will be won?
The forward line. Because I think, because Cloak, White and Reid are just three really good players, and if you can't contain them, well, they will wreak havoc.
That's everybody's wish. I suppose it's the opposite for you, Bonds.
Personally, I think whatever team's defence matches up better on the opposition forwards will win the match. It could really go down to where Ben Reid plays on the field.
It could.
I think he's the key to the match.
Bonds, we'll start with you. Who do you think will respond best to their first round defeat? Because they both had, I guess Fremantle were definitely the favourites, but Sydney would have been the favourites by far, and that must have been a rather deflating loss to the team. So who do you think is going to respond best to that first round defeat?
I think both teams are going to respond in different ways. I mean, whilst they're both just as demoralising defeats, at the same time, both teams are just they'll come out hard at the ball, but your team just stopped running after half time. Ours, whilst they tried running, it was our disposal efficiency that was non-existent. We didn't apply any pressure for the whole game.
Yeah.
I think, if anything, you guys have got more improvement than us. We need to really improve our disposal efficiency, and I don't know if we can fix that in 2 weeks.
Well, look, let's... I think we all want to see a really hard, contested, competitive match where both teams are putting in really significant improvement and effort. We want to see more improvement and effort from our team because we want to win. But
yes, we do.
But before we close off, it is Nick Maxwell's 200th game this week, and I'm 100% sure that he'll be playing. There's lots of discussion on the board about that too. But look, as much as opinions are a bit varied about his abilities at the moment, and he's certainly not the player that he used to be, but there is absolutely no denying what a good captain he's been for Collingwood, and his absolutely superb contribution to the club and dedication to the club. And I just, on behalf of the board, I just absolutely honour him for the 200 games and thank him for being part of our club. So.
If we had a glass, I'd strike a toast.
As would we all. So is there anything anybody...
Coming from a Sydney fan, is a premiership captain. You can't really even argue against his leadership capabilities. He was seen as the best captain in the league for a few years running.
Yeah,
So,
he was a surprising
he's a
captain.
leader on the field.
Yeah,
Definitely.
he was not a popular choice to begin with, and he was the kind of utility player, you know, unglamorous and all the rest. But, boy, he just wore that mantle with such dignity and integrity, and I absolutely grew to totally respect and admire his captaincy.
Yeah, he has been a great captain.
Good. So, anyone else got, either of you got anything else you want to say?
I have a question for Bonds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you rate Jesse White's rucking ability?
Not well.
Okay.
His best role is actually starting off on the wing and almost becoming a extra tall midfield around the ground that runs up forward to create problematic matchups.
Extra tall, actually.
Yeah, extra tall, 195 centimetres.
196, thank you very much.
Oh, he's grown a centimetre since he was at the Swans. He's
Jackson
grown,
Payne.
that's a problem. In all honesty, though, we have tried using him as a pinch-hitting ruckman before, and it hasn't ended out too well.
Okay.
But that was before he really started improving at the halfway point of last year and actually applying pressure around the ground.
Mm-hmm.
The last time I'd seen him actually play as a genuine ruckman was against Hawthorn in round 5 or 6 last year, and he was destroyed out of the midfield. As soon as the ball went to deck, he didn't apply any pressure whatsoever, but that's been a massive improvement from him over the second half part of last year, and from all reports, it's been absolutely flying at your club, so
yeah,
you may make something out of it, but I wouldn't use him as a ruckman.
Okay, 2 questions. How old is he?
He's 20 years?
He's 26 this year.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. And were you sorry to see him go, Bonds?
We had just signed Franklin, so
so
it
you can
was
be
a
so
bit of an upgrade, but if we hadn't signed Franklin, I would have been very sorry to see him go.
yeah,
I really do rate what he did for our club in the second part of last year. He added a different dimension to our team, and I think we've got Franklin, so we won't miss it as much, but if we hadn't recruited Buddy, we would have missed it greatly.
yes.
I do actually have one question for you guys, if you don't mind me asking.
Of course.
Do you guys believe this is a early season defining match?
Which one? The last one or this one?
This match coming up this week, it's season defining.
No. I think that the club that loses, their season's not over, but it'll be hard to get back. I mean, not impossible, but tough.
Well, I'd add something to that. I think, either team is going to be 2-1, or 1 and none, or how does that work? But 0 and 1.
Yes.
But I think what will be defining about it is how it's played. So if, for instance, Collingwood went out and played against Sydney the way they played against Fremantle, that would be a great concern. If they go out there and you can see that they're really playing with great effort and that there is a significant improvement and that they are playing 4 quarters of the game, even if they lose, then that's a different attitude and a different response to the whole game. So, yes, there's 2 answers. If the Collingwood Fremantle, that Collingwood turns up it's a real problem. If they turn up to play and we still lose, then that's different. The season's not over.
It's all about improving.
Yeah. And I guess you would have much the same feeling about that, Bonds.
I would, but at the same time, if we were 0-2 to start the year and we've got some issues against you guys at ANZ over the last few years, I would be very concerned going forward, even if it had improved.
Oh, it's only the second round. But it's interesting, though, how every team's kind of got its Achilles heel, isn't it? You know, like for years, Hawthorn couldn't beat Geelong, and then, you know, finally they did. Collingwood usually beats Geelong but can't beat Hawthorn. You know, we beat you generally up at ANZ, and yet, you know, you beat every other team. I mean, it's just extraordinary.
Interesting,
I wouldn't say we beat every other team at ANZ. Our record at ANZ is nowhere near as good as that record at the SCG, sadly.
Is that because it's a bigger ground and you don't like that, or...?
I don't think it's a very different ground. It's a longer, more narrow ground compared to the SCG, which is shorter and wider. But even then, with the recent redeveloping of the oval, the SCG isn't as short as it has been in the past. It might simply just be due to us playing more blockbuster fixtures at the ANZ Stadium. Like every year we play Geelong there, we play you guys.
What's its capacity?
At ANZ, 76,000.
Oh, really? Oh, it's not a small... Well, it's not... Yeah, it's not small then. It's actually decent sized. It's a decent sized stadium, but but the SCG now can fit 48,000 since redevelopment, so maybe 44. I'm not sure the exact number actually. I need to check that up. Over 40,000.
which is the ideal crowd for us. We're not going to get close to filling out ANZ Stadium on Saturday, even with it being Franklin's first home match in Swans colours.
Yeah. Well, guys, look, that sort of brings our podcast to an end. All I can say is may the best team win. Go Collingwood. And
you've got a wrong kind of Swans.
I just really hope it's a good match. You know, I mean, we all want to be totally engaged and biting your fingernails and sitting on the edge of your seat, and you know, that's football. That's when it's absolute best. So so let's hope it's a great game, and thank you, Bonds, for joining us tonight.
Yes, Bonds, thank you very much.
Well, you've both been terrific doing 2 in a row, so Gutsy Bug, thank you very much. You better go and do your homework now.
Yes, I should.
And let's... do we play you again later in the year?
No, we don't.
Oh, gosh.
This year.
Okay. Well, you know, a successful season to both teams, but Collingwood to be just a little more successful.
Just a little bit.
So thanks very much, and until next time.
Okay, this is trade draft for round 2, and I'm going to talk about our horrible loss in round 1 against the Freo Dockers on the 7th opening night down at Etihad. Well, I went to that game on last Friday, and I tipped us to lose, but to lose by 70 points. That was bloody pathetic. But, well, we started well. That's what was annoying. We started really, really well. We tackled hard. We was using the ball okay-ish, but we weren't converting in front of goal. And I think that was a big problem, because us not converting in front of goal and putting points on the scoreboard put some guys' heads down, and when the heads were down, the effort dropped off. And when the effort dropped off, well, we were there for the killing, the absolute killing. And we got paid for the lack of effort and got flogged. Well, there's a few good things to come out of the game. One was Tom Langdon. What a fantastic debut he had. Used the ball well, showed composure beyond his years. So we might have a player there. What else was there? 2 rucks against Southlands were serviceable, and I thought they could have done a lot worse. Beams was back to what he was doing before his injury, getting 30-odd touches a game. That's good to see. But so, hopefully this week on Saturday, we can thrash the Swans like we normally do up there and get our seasons back on track. So, it's round 2 trade rush rant segment. So, up go the Mighty Pies. Oh yeah.